So, this is a thought, another week of Fox and Thoughts. Actually, it's not going to be a week's worth of thoughts because, well, actually, maybe it is because I've been thinking about this for a while. So, today's topic is why do we want to share bad things that happen to us online? Now, I want to make a disclaimer. There are a lot of video essays out there. I watch a lot of video essays. I like to have them on while I'm doing things. But this is not a video essay. This is like a spontaneous thought piece. I don't know what you would call it. I just want to talk. I don't think any of this is going to be like well said all the time. I'm going to try my best. I hardly have a script. I have words on the screen, but you don't have to read those words because I'm going to read them to you and add things. So, yeah, so I hardly have a script. Don't expect this to be top-notch video essay because it isn't a video essay. So, this is a different type of thought. Usually my thoughts are like just random stuff. It's just a bunch of random things, maybe 4 to 6 different random things. But this time, it's actually just one long thought. A bunch of stuff, a bunch of things and thoughts and theories and things. And maybe we can have a little bit of a discussion. So, as I said, this thought is just a thought. It's some thoughts inspired by ongoings on social media, especially on YouTube over the years. Maybe the last 10, 15 years. Has it been that long for YouTube to exist for the last 15 years? I think so, yeah. Because 15 years would be just what, 2010, right? Because it's 2025. It's 2025 already, huh? So, you know how there's always something addicting about drama? I don't know about you guys, but I like watching drama channels. Reason I like watching drama channels is because just some people are just so unhinged. And as a writer, that's kind of fascinating. Okay, so these are the kind of people that are unhinged. Let me see how I can write an unhinged character. It's also the only way, drama channels are the only way I get to know what's going on out there in the social media space, the English-speaking social media space. Anyway, a lot of people, like me, a lot of people, even more than me, love drama, don't they? We eat it up. Maybe for some people, it's a guilty pleasure. And as I was writing this out, I thought, it kind of reminds me of morbid curiosity, which has always fascinated me because that despite something being so awful, like we're just so intrigued about it anyway, and we can't look away. And I thought, is morbid curiosity, being fascinated with morbid curiosity, I mean, morbid curiosity is related to like deadly things, right? Is it similar to people seeking dangerous thrills like skydiving? I mean, skydiving can be dangerous, or those people who fly off cliffs in wingsuits. That's like a thrill, but is it somehow similar to being somehow curious and thrilled to watch drama or to see something terrible and morbid going on in front of you? Looking at some kind of disturbing, deadly picture or something like that? Is this similar kind of in a psychological kind of way? There's this kid's calling out to their friend or something outside and I'm getting distracted. Could it be a similar psychological effect on our brains when we are addicted to drama, like something horrible is happening to someone, but we're going to watch anyway because, like it's a guilty pleasure kind of thing? Morbid curiosity could be kind of like that, kind of like a guilty pleasure kind of thing. Could it be? similar to how, like, people seeking dangerous sport, doing dangerous sports, how that affects their brains? Is it some kind of similar psychological thing? I don't know. What do you think? Doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doo. So, as I said, we like drama. Great. We've established that. But why do we post it? This is different now from consuming it. Now we're the ones we're the ones giving the drama. So why do we post our dirty laundry online? What do we hope to gain? What do we hope to accomplish by posting our own bad stuff online? Do we want to attract people to the drama, in a sense, give them what they want? But I don't think we're thinking about that when we have some, like, terrible thing that's happened to us, or terrible thing that we were involved in, and maybe we want to hope to gather support, gather people to rally against whatever we're up against. Could it be that we're so caught up inside our own heads at that moment that all we see is us against the world? Because I think it can be so easy to be caught up in the moment. Even though, even though when we're not caught up in the moment, we think, no way, there is no way I would ever do such a thing like that, be caught up in the moment and do something like that, and post whatever horrible and terrible thing I'm involved in or being a part of, posting it online. Why would I even do that? That's such a silly, stupid thing to do. I would never do that. That's what we might think. But then when we're in the moment, we might actually do it. But why would we do it? So in that moment, maybe it's like a kind of a, the fight or flight. When you're faced with some danger, you want to either flee or you want to fight it. Maybe it's our fight instinct then taking over. So we want to rally people together on our side to make sure we can actually go up against the quote-unquote enemy. And so maybe that's why we post it. We feel like by posting it, it's like, I'm doing a great thing by posting it, bringing awareness to the situation. I bet everyone can plainly see that I'm on the good side, or whatever side that you believe you're on. You probably believe that you're on the good side. And that, we can all go up against the enemy, so-called enemy, together. We can fight this. It's going to be great, kind of thing. Even though we might have played a part in the terrible thing, which I don't understand, because sometimes, in YouTube drama especially, there are people that post, they were involved in a terrible thing, this person is terrible, but then later on we find out that the person who was posting about the terrible thing was also somehow involved in contributing to the terrible thing happening. And now neither is on the good side now. So, but if that's the case, then, like, why would you post it if do they actually believe that they are completely squeaky clean? Do you initially believe that you are squeaky clean? I think you do, because humans I think are naturally very, we can be very self-centered, and that's the truth, I think, for everyone. Even if you don't think right now at this moment that I am such a self-centered person, like, you might not think that at all, but there may be moments where you are. And I think that self-centeredness might play a part in how in the reason why we are hard on ourselves, because we see ourselves as sort of like the center of the world, and some people more so than others, some people maybe less so than others, but there is a part of us there. Maybe it's human nature, I don't know, to think that somehow we are always the good guy or something like that. And the reason why we post the drama, the reason why we post the thing online is that we think, of course, everyone is going to help us, support me in going against the quote unquote enemy. I still don't get why. Because even if we come out with receipts and everything, there's always going to be internet sleuths, internet sneaky people who are able to who will be the defender, who will be on the other side, so to speak, and try to look up things about us that are actually incriminating. Is that the word? And so then that casts doubt on our credibility after we post the dirty laundry online. Do we at that moment posting the dirty laundry online not realize that could happen? Do we really truly believe that we are 100% in the right? Do we not see that we might be contributing to the problem or something? That is something to think about. Why do we post the drama when in the end, there could be something about us that could be damaging to what we're posting? If I say I'm the good guy, but then someone finds something that I said maybe 10 years ago or something, and it actually shows that I'm not a good guy. Do we not think that could happen, that there could be something like that? Or do we just have completely erased the fact that we might have posted something like that from our memory? And so then, I don't know where I'm going with this thought. Now, let me get into parasocial relationships. I had this thought as I was creating these slides, because I write these slides like they're a blog, so I just write them and make sure my thought is flowing, but then I don't really do a lot to them. So this was just something that just came up. I didn't really plan to talk about parasocial relationships, but I thought, you know what, maybe there is some kind of sense of a parasocial relationship coming from the creator's side, the person who is posting the stuff, giving, fueling the fire, so to speak, the fire being the drama. So fueling the drama, the person who is posting that thing and starting the drama feels a parasocial relationship towards their followers. Does that make sense? So I looked up, okay, we need to know what parasocial relationships mean. So I went and looked up parasocial relationships definition, and what came up was an article on Psychology Today. I don't know how credible they are, but they're called Psychology Today, and I thought that's what we're gonna be working off of. But I think a lot of people do have an idea about parasocial relationships is when you feel like you as a follower or the fan feels like the YouTuber, that person, you feel like you're friends with that person, you feel like you know everything about them. So anyway, Psychology Today says, and I'm going to read this, what are parasocial relationships? Parasocial relationships refer to one-sided relationships in which a person develops a strong sense of connection, intimacy, or familiarity with someone they don't know, most often celebrities or media personalities. These relationships exist only in the mind of the individual who experiences a bond despite the lack of reciprocity. The term was coined by psychologists Donald Horton and R.H. Wohl, I don't know how to say it. In 1956, when televisions became widely available, they noted that TV viewers began to develop the illusion of intimacy with the characters on the screen. Although parasocial relationships are inherently imaginary, they can feel real for the person experiencing them. An individual may see or project onto a celebrity a range of emotions that mirror their feelings and challenges. That's all they had for this definition, by the way. There was nothing after this. Maybe related links or something like that. So it does say most often celebrities and media personalities. Now, I did have the idea that parasocial relationships, they say, is one-sided. And it's usually most often towards celebrities or media personalities. But does that mean it can't actually be one-sided from both sides? Well, then that will be two-sided. But the thing is, the viewer has a parasocial relationship with the YouTuber or social media influencer. And then the influencer in turn sees their audience as like a whole person instead of a whole bunch of like individuals. Like if I have 60 something subscribers, I might feel like those 60 something subscribers, instead of individual 60 people listening to me right now, I might see you as just one entity. That is such a weird thing to say. But like something like that. So the YouTuber or the influencer sees their audience because it's so many people. It's hard to imagine you standing inside in a room of even just a crowd of 60. It's hard for me to imagine standing in front of 60 people and talking to you about this. Actually, maybe it's not so bad. I think I've been in a classroom in college where there were like 100 people. So maybe it's not too hard to imagine 60. Okay, what if I imagine, like I have 1,200 something followers on Instagram. What if I imagine that I am talking to 1,000 people? It's hard to imagine those 1,000 people all at once. So I might imagine like a few people that I talk to a lot, and then the rest is like a blur. Or some people who have like 1 million followers might not actually see those individual 1 million followers. They might see that million as like a group, like a clump of people, like an entity, like one single entity. And so then they have a parasocial relationship. This is where I'm going, with that entity that imagined, that created entity, they created it in their mind. This entity includes the millions of followers. It's just one big clump. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to really explain what I'm seeing in my mind. Like imagine like a what is a good analogy? I don't know what a good analogy would be. I don't know. I don't have a good analogy. Just imagine these people. They're all just not 1 million people, but they are a clump. And that one clump is what this influencer, this social media person, is talking to. So they feel a parasocial relationship with their followers or their online community. And they feel like they are only talking to that one entity. But that is their illusion, or is it their delusion? So this is my theory, okay, that parasocial relationships can actually go both ways. It's not just towards the media. It's not just the fans or the followers feeling a sense of, oh, I know you really, really well. I know that I feel that we are friends because I've been watching you, I grew up with you, that kind of thing. But also the influencer who is just talking to the camera like I am just talking to this microphone. It might be easy to just forget that there's actually a lot of different individuals watching or listening to me. Instead, I imagine followers as just one single entity and feel as if I can trust you, or that I am 100% sure that you will support me. I mean, I don't know if I feel that way, but as an example of what someone might feel, someone might be thinking, some influencer might be thinking, maybe, so that is why they think that they can be open and honest to their followers. And in turn, feeding that fire, so-called drama fire, is the participants who don't know that they have participated in fueling this fire, the followers and the fans and the viewers, the community, saying, we deserve to know. Do they deserve to know? It probably depends on the situation, but especially if it's something deeply personal, I don't know. But if the influencer was the one that first shared that something is going on, and the followers didn't fuel the fire, would the influencer then continue airing out all the drama? Or will they actually stop because no one is responding? Oh, but if no one is responding, they might just continue going. It depends on what the situation is. And depends on how they feel, how connected they feel with their audience. Can parasocial relationships be two-sided? If the influencer sees the followers as one entity and not as individual people, like this kind of person, this kind of person, this kind of person, this kind of person. Like, if that is so hard to comprehend and imagine, especially people who have millions and millions of followers or viewers or subscribers, maybe it's hard for them to imagine the individuals. You know, like I have 60, right? 60 something, 4 or something. And it's a little bit easier for me to imagine standing in front of a classroom or something, or a stage, and talking to 60 people. That's not too hard to imagine. But it's hard for me to imagine talking to 1,000 people, like if I'm talking to, posting a reel on Instagram. That it's hard for me to imagine the people as individuals. So just a few people stand out because I interact with them a lot. Not a few people, a handful, maybe 20 to 30 people that I interact with a lot. And then the rest of them are just the rest of them. I mean, of course they're all important, but they're just sort of clumped together in one kind of, I don't know, entity. I don't know. Do you think parasocial relationships could be two-sided? Is this has anyone talked about this? Because I find it so fascinating how influencers or people with 1 million followers are always so quick to share very personal things sometimes. What are they feeling when they post this? Why? I don't know. And this has to be this can't be something that has been around, in the news or something, and that's why they're posting about it. This has to be something that comes from them, their own initiative. Yeah, that's a good word. Their own initiative. It comes from their own initiative. No one has even brought this up before. No one even knew it was going on, but they decide, I better post about this. I have a feeling that has to be some kind of parasocial relationship type of dynamic going on. I mean, that's all I can think about, because then why else would they share it, right? Why are they so compelled to share it? When people share terrible things online, this is the next topic, okay? Next topic. When people share terrible things online, they are affected by the bubble of social media. This is related to the topic of parasocial relationships. See, I'm trying to flow from one thought to the other, okay? Very nicely, because this is a different type of random thought. This is like, these are all connected. Okay. So, when people share terrible things online, are they affected by the bubble of social media? I'm making hand gestures, like a bubble hand gesture, like a circle, like it's a cocoon, like we're stuck in this thing, okay? Hand gestures. You can't see me, but I'm telling you what I'm doing, okay? So social media can feel like an isolated bubble, as if everything happening on social media isn't actually happening in the quote-unquote real world. Now, I felt that. I have felt that. Social media is so weird in a fascinating way. Okay, let me tell you something about me. I was born in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid, okay? So at that time, we didn't even have Facebook. It makes me feel so ancient. I had a flip phone when I was like in elementary school. In order to call my mom to come pick me up, I had a flip phone, but in order to actually be able to call somebody, I had to extend an antenna from the phone, and it was like a speed dial. I would press like a certain key and it would either call my mom or my dad, you know. So you don't know. I don't know what era you're from. Anyway, so that's the kind of technology I had in the beginning. And then it wasn't until junior high that everyone had a flip phone. We all had flip phones, those thick little bulky things. Very little you can do on that thing. I wasn't even using the internet on my phone at all. We didn't have applications. Did you know that's what app stands for? Did you remember that's what app stands for? Applications. Yeah, we didn't have apps at all. No apps. No Facebook. When did Facebook come out? That was like when I was in high school. So that would have been that's over 15 years ago. Yeah, that Facebook came up. My mom was so obsessed with it. I had no interest in Facebook. It was like my mom that set up my Facebook and everything like that. So, and then after that, I started setting up my own Facebook, my author Facebook and stuff like came way later. Anyway, so I had Facebook. Do people use Skype at all these days? Anyway, I'm the era of the people. The people of the era. What is words? The people of the era that watched social media develop. So, I remember a time when we didn't have this isolated social media bubble at all. Like everyone was just out in the world. There was the real world, and then there was home. And that was there was the outside world, and then there was the inside world, which is home. Those are the only separations. And then there was like maybe celebrities, Hollywood, whatever, you know. But I I distinctly remember feeling the social media bubble being sort of created, starting with Facebook groups, and then um, Facebook was the only like social app that I had for a really long time, and I didn't join. My Instagram journey is actually quite recent. 2019 was when I first joined Instagram, so and I didn't really have a YouTube presence for quite some time either. So I did have an account, but not really did anything with it. But I do distinctly remember like joining like online writing communities and stuff is when I started feeling this social media isolated bubble kind of thing. And you kind of forget, it's weird because I knew that I was talking to like real people, like so I live in Japan, right? So I'm talking to real people who live in real United States of America in real time. I'm talking with them in real time sometimes, but somehow I just feel like it's just happening here on this online forum. And whatever we say here doesn't actually affect us after we leave these social media spaces. But the thing is that it does affect us. It's weird. Because social media, somehow I don't like forget, okay? Like after I come out of social media, I know that social media is still part of the quote unquote real world. But it feels like sometimes that it's somehow separated from that. And I think that's why some people feel emboldened to say and do terrible things sometimes, like trolls. They might feel removed from the so-called real world, even though social media is also the real world. Do you get what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying here? Because I think otherwise people wouldn't be sharing those terrible things, right? So, or doing terrible things. Like saying sexist or racist things to someone's face. I mean, depending on the era, it probably happened. It definitely happened with the era, different eras, those things happened. But normal is not a really good word, but a human being who has a good conscience otherwise might not be might not be calling someone a racial slur outside in the world. But for some reason, they do it on social media. TikTok scares me because I do have an account on TikTok, okay? I do have an account, but I haven't posted there in a long time because, for one thing, I don't know, the type of quick content, quick entertainment type of content just doesn't match with my lifestyle. It doesn't really match with me, and I like to talk a lot. I have a lot of thoughts and things. So I don't know. TikTok just didn't really, it's not really my thing. Same reason Twitter, or whatever it's called now, isn't really my thing either. So another reason I'm not really on TikTok is because I've seen so many very, 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 very vile comments of TikTok. Why? It's just people, what is happening over there? It's like people are just so toxic over there sometimes. Somehow TikTok has created such a social media bubble. I think this is what it is. Such a social media bubble such a strong, steel-like social media bubble that people think, oh, I can say whatever I want. What has happened? Where did anyone's decent humanity go? Some people, I betcha. I don't say betcha all that often, so that's a treat for you. I betcha people who are posting nasty things on TikTok, some of them, a lot of them, I want to believe that a lot of them are actually genuinely good people off of TikTok. But somehow TikTok just emboldens people. The TikTok bubble just emboldens people to say and do terrible things. That's what I think. That's what I think it is. And people can be influenced by other people, even if those people are not particularly influencers, like people with a lot of followers. Just because you have 2 followers, you still might be influencing them. So, and other users can influence other users. You know, it's a whole big loop over there, especially TikTok with these, what are they called? Stitches? I think, that's just a TikTok thing, right? Stitches. So I think they feel like emboldened to say and do terrible things because everyone else is doing it too. Or the first person that did it was a troll, and then everyone else who isn't a troll started thinking, oh, maybe I can do it too. Why not say whatever I want? Say whatever I want to this individual. Create toxicity. Who cares? Nobody cares, because that is what everyone is doing. That's very toxic, you know, because then you're creating a toxic bubble space, which is really, really bad. On the other hand, I find it fascinating how TikTok is still able to like have spaces where it's not so toxic. It's so strange to me that how easily affected we are by these social media bubbles. Like, you might say, okay, there is no reason for me to be like those other toxic people on TikTok. But at some point you might just not recognize that you're doing, I don't know. Do those people actually think, okay, I'm going to leave a nasty comment? Or do they think, I need to say this thing that I thought of right this second without thinking about what it is I'm posting online? I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to filter it. I'm not going to think about if this is going to hurt someone. They don't even think those things. They just idea and post. Thought and post. And then that's it. And then they go to the next TikTok. Thought and post. Is that what is happening over there on TikTok? But this is just TikTok thing. It could still happen on spaces like YouTube. It could still happen on spaces like Facebook. It's just a social media thing. Somehow, people are just, because you can't see the face of the other person, you can't see their reaction, you can't feel the other person. Feel as in like feel their presence. Like being in the presence of someone, I think, makes you think twice about saying something for some people. Maybe not, I don't know. So you feel like you can't say the thing because you're in the presence of the real person. You feel their presence and you're actually there and you can see their reactions before the reactions. You know, they're like waiting for you to say something, you know, and you look into their eyes or you feel their presence and hear their voice. And so then you don't say the thing, But on social media, you don't see anything, so you feel like, okay, look at this person with the icon of the puppy dog. It's not, that's just an icon of a puppy dog. I can say whatever I want. What is it that people actually think? But they don't think, you don't think. Sometimes if you like, I don't know where I'm going with this. But I think that there is that social media can feel like an isolated bubble. That's what I think. And you can be caught in the bubble, and you might not notice that you're caught in the bubble until hindsight. That's my thought. I'm drinking coffee in case you were wondering. So this next point, there's number 5 and then there's number 6. So we're almost done here. Hang in there. So number 5 is, this is another question. Easy to not realize the bubble, especially if that bubble affects you mentally. So this is kind of related thing. When the social media bubble is affecting you mentally, it's easy to think that the bubble doesn't affect the rest of the world. So if it's something that affects you physically, I don't know how it would affect you physically. If the bubble affects you physically, like if social media, some drama happens and you're doxxed, that would affect you physically, right? You're doxxed or something. You're in danger, physically in danger somehow. Or just physically affected. How would you be physically affected by social media? Like maybe, but I think social media is always a mental thing, isn't it? It can't be a physical thing. What was I thinking writing this slide? I have no idea. But I think if you are, okay, here it goes. Here's the thing. If you are on the receiving end, meaning if you are the fan or the follower or the subscriber or the viewer, and your favorite creator has just posted something that is mentally negatively affecting them, and hearing all these negatively mentally affecting things, you as a follower also feel negatively mentally affected in some capacity, which then is all a mind thing. It's all inside your head. And so you're doing all this thinking inside your head without doing any external actions. And so then you jump to conclusions. Because the only way that you can jump to conclusions inside a social media bubble is if you are just thinking about stuff inside your noggin. You're just doing all this mental thinking, and you're not actually researching something online, going to talk to somebody else. You're not doing any of that. You're just in your head by yourself doing all this thinking and then deciding that this is right or this is wrong. Not realizing that actually you're jumping to conclusions because you think you have all the information because you have listened to your favorite creator talking and presenting this drama. And so you think that no way are they not in the wrong. And so that means they are in the right. And so I am going to defend them if anything comes up. And some people can go to the extremes with that. But this is still all in the bubble. because I think it's really easy to think that this social media bubble that you are now a part of, somehow, without realizing it, that it doesn't affect the rest of the world. It's so easy to think that whatever happens in this little social media bubble with me and this creator in this parasocial relationship is not actually affecting the rest of the world. And you're not even thinking that either. You're just moving inside this bubble. All you're doing is moving in the bubble. You don't even realize you're in the bubble. You don't even realize that what you are doing in the bubble is also affecting people outside of the bubble. You don't realize any of that because you're just so stuck in this little bubble, because it's all mental. It's all inside your head. And this is the same thing that goes with the person who is posting the drama or bringing some issue to light or calling somebody out. I don't know. Something that creates drama within a community online. And you, as the person who is posting this, might think, okay, this isn't going to affect somebody. You're not even thinking how it's going to affect people. You're just thinking about your community online as this entity that you are talking to, without realizing that within this identity are the individual people. So if that is going on, are we doomed? Social media? Is social media doomed? Is that what's going on? Well, so easy. Why is it so easy for us on social media to jump to conclusions? Is it that easy for us to jump to conclusions off of social media? Like in the non-social media world? Like the physical world? Like if we... I don't know. I mean, like, sometimes our intuitions could be right? Sometimes it might be that, oh, I knew this person was going to be bad, and we're right, but sometimes we're wrong. But for some reason on social media, we just like, boop, yep, this person's bad, this person's good, so I'm going to support the good person. I don't know what happened with my voice there. Anyway, so I want to give a little bit of a story. So I have been in a bubble before, and the bubble affected me mentally. And this is in a good way. It's a good way. It's not a bad way, like drama. But it's a good way. And this is on a writing form. And I posted some story and it got some very positive attention. And then I thought, great, my story is wonderful. And that's a good thing, to think that many people like your story and that it was worthy of more attention, right? As a writer, that's what it's like. You know, if you are an artist and you post some art online and a lot of people like it, you are now inside that social media bubble of your art online situation. That's the bubble. That particular piece of art online is that social media bubble. And you are there and you receive all this praise and you're like, this is great stuff here. But it's not just within that bubble that the good stuff is happening. It's also outside of that bubble. People who are outside of it, like you might show that post to your friends, say, look, that piece of art I was working on for a very, very, very long time has got all of this attention. And then they will say, oh, that's great. But now their response is now outside of the social media bubble, but it's now affecting you in a good way. Their comment outside the social media bubble being affected by the social media bubble. So the social media bubble is still in the real world. Am I making sense? Am I only talking in circles? Maybe I should move on. Okay, so this is like a summary. I already mentioned a lot of things that I'm going to talk about in this next part. So this is leaving you with more thoughts and theories. This is a lot, okay? So bear with me. Let me start off with this by saying, if I had answers, I would give them to you. I'm not a psychology expert or a social media expert. I write novels, fantasy novels. I watch and observe the internet space a lot. So from one human to another, you and you and you and all of you, please have these thoughts and theories. Think about these things. We can have a discussion in the comments. If I'm wrong about anything, please let me know. And if my thoughts and theories are weird, let me know nicely. Be respectful, of course, with each other, with me, with each other. Because we might be in this social media bubble, you and I. You and you and you and you and you too. All of us in this social media bubble that is my channel. We could be there. Oh my gosh, we might be there. So we need to be careful, because the social media bubble is not just isolated, it's also connected to the outside world. So whatever we say and do will affect the outside world as well. So we need to be careful. Am I making sense? Okay, so the first point is the reason people want to share their horrible things and drama online is because they too feel a parasocial relationship with their followers. So that was like my parasocial relationship point, right? So parasocial relationship not being one-sided from fan to celebrity or follower to social media influencer or viewer subscriber to YouTuber, it goes the other way too. Thonks and thoughts, anybody. But I don't think they, meaning the people who are posting the drama, actually think before posting that, oh, my followers will support me. I don't think they actually think that, because they're so inside of their drama, inside of their mental bubble here, that they don't even have the mental leeway to even think about this. It happens. People get caught up in their own mental heads. It happens to the best of us. Okay, it happens to me too. And you just get blindsided, or not blindsided, that's not the word. You just get consumed with yourself, and you can't help it because you're just human. Okay, so I think they think I need to tell them because they deserve to know. That's a lot of things that a lot of YouTubers who like address drama or like talk about situations say, that their followers deserve to know. And I think this is in a similar way that you might feel like you have to tell your friend something in order to be honest. Like you feel compelled to do this. They deserve to know. Do they think that them telling their viewers or followers something that they think they deserve to know, are they doing this because they think that is honest? That it is honesty? This is honesty? This is a show of their honesty? What are they actually thinking? Sometimes I think I should have taken a course in psychology or something, because I'm always fascinated with how people's brains work. How do people think? How do different people think? What is going on in their brain cavities? That's a weird phrasing. What's going on inside their noggin? I want to know, what were they actually thinking? Break it down for me. What were they thinking? Do they think when they post the drama, I need to post this because they deserve to know? But is that because they think this is a show of honesty? Do they think they need to be honest? But if they think they need to be honest, why do they think they need to be honest to their followers? Why do they think their followers deserve to know? Your followers aren't your friends, right? They're not your family. They're just see, that's why I think it's a parasocial relationship situation from the creator side as well. They don't realize that what they say or do actually affects the real world and real people. Because now they are seeing their followers as this one group, this chunk of a person, chunk of a thing, this entity, instead of individual followers. They see that as an entity. Maybe that is my speculation. And so they don't realize that this entity is actually individual people. Like it's not like they don't realize. That's a weird thing to say, that they don't realize that. Of course they realize, they know that there are individual people in their followers, but it's like they don't realize. Am I making sense? It's sort of like, it's a psychological, I'm pretty sure it's some kind of psychological thing. It's like, of course they understand that their followers consist of individual people, but they don't actually, they stop seeing it. Sort of like really, really rich celebrities become like, what was the word? I forgot what the word was, but it's like they are detached from reality. They become removed from reality. They're like, buying, like, I don't know, a Porsche or something, and they think it's cheap or something. Like, anybody can afford a Porsche or something. Like, if they think that, these rich people, because they've been so, not desensitized. What is a word? What is words? I don't know what the word is. I remembered it before, but then I forgot it as I was talking. Detached, removed from reality. Like this, the reality is that Porsche is expensive for most people. But they have stopped seeing that as expensive. And they don't realize that. They are so removed, detached from this being expensive. Similarly, the creators don't realize, they understand that they're individual people, but they easily forget. They easily clump all their followers into the followers entity, the singular entity, and they're just talking to the entity as a one entity that they have conjured up, unconsciously conjured up in their mind, is something that will support and understand them, support and understand them to the ends of the earth. And they have a parasocial relationship with the entity, and they don't realize, unconsciously, they don't realize that they have now grouped these individual people into an entity, and actually that's kind of not good to do, because they forget that within the entity are individual people who are real people who be really affected, and these real people have their individual ideas and beliefs and religions or whatever. They have different they are different individuals. Each single person, every single person of their millions of followers are individually different people with different ideas and thoughts and everything. The only common thread among their followers is that they follow the same person. But not that they might not have the same ideas. Am I even making sense? What is my conclusion? You know what? I have to remind myself sometimes, like, not much today because I've been thinking about this parasocial relationships and all that stuff. I sometimes even have to remind myself that I'm not just talking into a microphone or reading off of a screen. I'm talking to strangers. I mean, I'm sure you guys are all great and wonderful people, but I don't know you like, like I know my family, or like I know my partner, or like I know my friends. You are just people who happen to like listening to what I have to say. I don't actually know you, so you don't actually know me either. So we're just two strangers talking about a topic that we are both interested in. So maybe other people, creators, feel the same way too sometimes, maybe. And it's a kind of parasocial relationship situation. Sometimes, maybe. I feel like I can tell you everything. I don't know if I feel like I can tell you everything. I'm really actually pretty aware that even though I might not be a big creator or anything like that, I can still influence people into thinking a certain way or acting in a certain way. Follower count doesn't matter, really. Everybody is an influencer in some capacity if they have some type of even a minuscule social media presence online. Even if only 2 people follow you, you could influence those 2 people. So everybody is an influencer. Anyway, I've talked about that on IG, on Instagram, before I made a post that we are all influencers. So moving on, let me take a break for a second and drink some water. You guys should also drink water. So, the second part of number 6, leaving you with more thoughts and theories. I had a theory. Is sharing our personal drama to the world somehow related to our own morbid curiosity? Even though it's about us, a small part of us is fascinated by how people are fascinated by our dirty laundry. Think about that. Do with it what you will. Be respectful. Discuss. I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to ask me further questions like what did you mean by that, feel free to do that. I'm happy to answer. The next question is theory, maybe. It's kind of like when people compete sob stories. Have you ever told someone, oh my gosh, I had a rough day? And then they say, you did? Well, I had an even rougher day. And somehow it spirals and turns into a competition for who had the worst day. There is I don't know if this is currently the case, but at least maybe in the 90s and 2010s or so, it was still the case. At least there is some kind of cultural thing in America, at least, of boys in junior high or elementary school competing who has the worst injury. There was this episode on the Lizzie McGuire show where Lizzie and her brother, I forgot what his name was, collided and switched bodies. And what happened was there was this scene where Lizzie is actually talking to some guys, but it's not Lizzie, it's her brother is inside her body. But what they were talking about was he's talking about this terrible injury that he'd gotten, as if to compete with, like, oh, I got this terrible injury once and it was very disgusting. And that is something like the stereotype of, like, that guys or boys would compete who had the worst injury. Like, that's some kind of a stereotype. I don't know where it stems from. I don't know where that comes from, if it's true or not. Do boys actually do that? I have a feeling that, girls might do it too. I mean, why does it have to be gendered? Anyway, so it's like, oh my gosh, I had a terrible day. And then someone else is like, oh, you did? I had a even more terrible day than you did. And my situation was even worse, Is it somehow like sharing your drama to the world? Somehow you are hoping to somehow compete unconsciously. You don't know that you're doing this. You don't know that you're actually trying to compete, that, oh my gosh, I had this horrible situation happen to me. Or I was involved in this and it was terrible. You're hoping to see comments of people talking about their own terrible situations, and you read those comments and you're like, relieved that your situation is worse than their situation. But you're not actually thinking about that when you actually post a thing. You're not actually trying to compete your sob story. Because, like, why? Because my thinking thought is why do you even want to post about a drama that you were a part of or involved in some way? Why would you do that to yourself? Unless you are seeking some kind of support or, like, unconsciously competing sob stories. I don't know. Because I'm not accusing anyone of posting sob stories because they want people to feel sorry for them, even more sorry for them than someone else had. I have no idea why you would post it. Like, what is the psychology behind that? Really thinking, like, why would someone, is it like morbid curiosity type of thing? Why that you would post it? It's drama, it's negative, but you're posting it anyway. Nobody had brought it up. No one on the internet brought it up, but you're posting about it. And it's not about, like, the last video that Jenna Marbles posted about, like, taking accountability type of thing. This is something that you were involved in, that you took part in, or something that could potentially make you out as the bad guy, and yet you post it anyway. But what are you even thinking in that moment? I'm not saying it in a way like, what were you thinking? It's more like, genuinely, what psychological thing could have been going on in your noggin that you think that you can post this on social media? I'm just genuinely curious and confused. So the last point is about bringing awareness to a situation. So I think that bringing awareness to a situation is a very sticky business. It's very sticky business, whether it's on social media or not. Meaning someone going out to talk to a friend and bringing awareness to a situation, going out to give a speech. Because where do you draw the line between, now here's a list of things, draw the line between, quote, sharing to bring awareness, end quote, and sharing to make sure people know I'm good, hero complex, sharing because I hate so-and-so and want them to suffer, some sort of revenge scheme, maybe, and sharing because the public deserves to know my story, possible main character syndrome, question mark. There is a really blurry line between all of these, I think, because you might not even realize you're being that way yourself until hindsight. And if you, especially, I think it's hard if you're struggling with something and if it's something that is so mentally affecting you inside your little mental social media bubble with you and your community follower entity, parasocial relationship and everything, you don't even notice that I'm bringing awareness to the situation is actually loaded with all kinds of blurry lines. It might not be, but it also might be. You don't know, so I don't have any conclusions. I have nothing conclusions. I have no conclusions to any of these things. Just bringing this to the table and just really wanted to talk about it. All these points, point number 1 to 5, and then number 6 being the summary kind of all the things I just talked about. Because if you're sharing to bring awareness, it's a good thing, right? But if it's about yourself, something that you are involved in, no one has told you to share it, and yet you are on your own. Well, why are you doing that? You sharing to make sure people know I'm good, kind of hero complex, maybe main character syndrome type of thing. Sharing because I hate so-and-so and want them to suffer. That's actually a very, quote, evil thought. You want to make someone look bad. But you're not actually, because some people could be posting drama in order to make someone look bad, because that is their goal. They want them to look bad. Or you could be posting this drama, not realizing that bringing awareness to the situation actually has several meanings in it, and you don't even realize yourself. You didn't even consider that you yourself has loaded this phrase with all kinds of blurred lines. So maybe you weren't ready to post it yet. You have to dissect why exactly bringing awareness to a situation that is loaded with what it's loaded with, and where you most strongly stand. Is it ever good to bring awareness to a situation? Yes, sometimes it is good to bring awareness to a situation. Sometimes it's important to bring in awareness to a situation. But what if that situation is something that nobody knew about you? It's your drama, your dirty laundry. Why would you want to bring awareness to a situation that nobody knew about? I don't know what to say. I'm doing hand gestures and you can see me. So anyway, that is that. I don't know. Did I talk in circles a lot? I sometimes do that because I want to really, I'm thinking as I'm talking. So, let me know your thoughts. Let me know all your thoughts on these points. I don't really know why some people post drama just because, and I'm not saying that everything people post is drama. That's like implying that this is drama. There is a YouTube, no, not YouTube. This is a social media. There's a YouTuber that posts what they call docuseries. Her channel's name, the channel name is Swoop. And they always say it's not drama, it's dangerous. So there could be times where it's not drama, it is dangerous. And so bringing awareness to the situation is actually a good thing. But what if the bringing the situation that is a good thing to bring awareness to but if you, I don't know, like if you haven't done a lot of digging into the situation, even though you're involved in it, you dig into the situation, you didn't do that enough, or you didn't do it at a time where you were mentally well, then maybe you don't realize you're actually fueling the fire. You don't even realize that you're doing it. Because then again, as I said, you're still in this social media bubble. Your own little social media bubble. Like my channel could easily, the video itself could be a social media bubble. Like we could just be stuck in here without realizing it. Ooh. Okay, so what are your comments? Let me know your comments. Let me know your shiny, sparkly comments. And if you don't know what to say, you don't know what to talk about, you don't know how to articulate any thoughts, or you're kind of afraid to post, or whatever, for whatever reason you don't want to comment, tell me your favorite color. What is your favorite color? I want to know what your favorite color is. Mine is sunset, by the way. I like all the sunset colors. So that's why I say my favorite color is sunset. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope you found that interesting. It was a different kind of thought. It was just about all on one related topic. If I have more of these, I'll just be posting them when I feel like them. When I feel like I can talk about them. So anyway, as I said, that's it for this video. This is the end. Let's take a breather. Take a breather, a moment. Tell me your favorite color while you're waiting for me to take a sip of water. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. You will hear me in the next video. The fox is out.